And now, News 4's Weather Extra with meteorologist Ryan Duggar.
Welcome to Weather Extra. I'm joined here by Kinsley Centaurs, or Centaurs, as I have said multiple times when we've been hosting together. It's a nice little joke between us now where she calls me Dugar as I'm walking around the station.
And every time it's the Centaurs,
exactly.
the buzzer has to beep. It's not right.
This is the whole reason why we invested in this. So
exactly.
it is getting a lot of use, and we're still looking for that sponsor. So if you know anyone, hit us up. But for today was Valentine's Day. It was pretty comfortable outside.
It was nice.
For Dothan, there is a fair share of those cold, warm, and even wet Valentine's Days as well. So meteorologist Zach Webster actually looked into the past Valentine's Days and what we saw for Dothan in the past. Check it out.
Over the last 10 years, Valentine's Day has given us a lot of weather to love and also a lot of weather that some people would love to hate. We've seen some pretty cold mornings. We've also seen some pretty warm afternoons as well. Some of those cooler mornings that we've had to start off Valentine's Day. In 2022, that low temperature was down to 31 degrees. In 2015, it was down to 30 degrees. The average low temperature on Valentine's Day over the last 10 years, just shy of 39 degrees. As I mentioned earlier, we've had some pretty warm afternoons as well. In 2023, we got up to 75, 77 in 2017. Those average afternoon highs for Valentine's Day over the last 10 years, a little over 65 degrees. And rain, for the most part, has stayed away. The only time we have seen a measurable amount of rainfall on Valentine's Day over the last 10 years was back in 2021. The warmest Valentine's Day we've ever had on record, 1989, when we reached 80 degrees. The coldest morning that we've seen on Valentine's Day, 22, back in 1971. And the wettest Valentine's Day we've had back in 1997, when 1.3 inches of rain came down.
See, if we had Valentine's Day last week, we could have easily hit that 80-degree mark. I mean, we saw multiple records break with that warmth.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
I would love a warm 80-degree Valentine's Day. I just love the spring-like weather we've been seeing. But hey, if it's a little cooler, then those people that like the cooler temperatures, they got what they wanted.
Exactly, yeah. There's a little bit fun for everyone, whether you did go outside and enjoy Valentine's Day lunch or dinner outside. It was a pretty comfortable day, but now we're starting to see temperatures lower. We're holding on to warmth for parts of the Gulf Coast right here, 66 in New Orleans, 61 in Dothan. We reached the upper 60s today. Areas farther to the west saw around 70 degrees, but that cold air is still farther off to the north in parts of the mid-south. So over the next few days, we're actually going to be seeing that this warmth increases at least into the first half of the weekend. Likely going to be seeing temperatures even for Sunday night as we're watching for those showers and thunderstorms that are going to roll through. Temperatures around the middle 60s, but then as that passes, we'll be back to mornings right around the 30s, which is something that we haven't seen since January. That was some serious cold when it comes through. Right.
Yeah, definitely want to make sure you have the winter gear still hanging out because it's creeping back in.
Exactly, and that can last for much of the week here, where even with these 30s, it can really go roller coaster between those 30s to 40s as we get a little bit of moisture for our rain chance on Wednesday, where you can see some rain, as we see right here, temperatures back up to the middle 60s before that rain hits on Tuesday. But after that, we're really going to be watching out for snowfall in parts of the Midwest, because once that sets up, as David has taught me many times, is once you have snow set up farther to the north, that allows for that air that's making its way from the north to travel over that cold, and it makes it colder here. We'll likely see by Friday of next week temperatures around the upper 20s. And again, we haven't seen that since, of course, we were in January watching for snowfall ourselves.
Yeah, it's kind of like we're about to see all 4 seasons crammed into 1 week.
That's exactly
so just be prepared for a little bit of everything.
Exactly. I don't know what that groundhog was doing when he got out, but yeah, there is a little bit more winter to go for us here. But before we go for the weekend, we're going to be talking a little bit more about that severe weather set up on Sunday. Stay tuned.
And now, News 4's Weather Extra.
Welcome back. We've been watching the severe weather setup that is potential for Sunday morning, and I gotta say, Kinsley, when we're hosting Weather Extra, 2 things happen. One, I get your last name wrong.
Yes.
Secondly, we're almost always watching like a severe weather setup. Isn't that crazy?
I've noticed that pattern too. What is the deal? And also I noticed that a lot of these severe weather systems are coming through in the early morning hours, so that's why we want to make sure that viewers like you at home are paying attention this weekend.
Exactly. I don't know what it is about our area area, but that is always the pattern that we situate ourselves in. It's the weekend and it's early morning, but for people who have been living here long, they kind of know the deal. So we're going to be watching out for the timing of this, where we see that system building over the next couple of days, showers and thunderstorms building in parts of the Mid-South, and that line makes its way farther into Dothan, likely going to be seeing the main window of time between 2 to 8 a.m. And some of these showers and thunderstorms can be on the strong side. The winds are going to be in place for that with this low-level jet up above in the atmosphere. And along with that too, this blue area, this is available energy for these storms. Now, there's a little bit less than what we saw for Thursday, but in this time of year, you don't need that much energy to allow for storms to build up and also have tornadoes be able to kind of use that. So this is why we're watching this a little bit more closely than Thursday's setup as well. The dynamics are there a little bit more, and actually that's why this STP, significant tornado parameter, we can kind of see it highlighted over much of the wiregrass. So of course we're going to be watching that very closely into the days ahead. And the main, then you have the radar right here really overlaying a lot of those parameters as well. Now the main threats we're going to be watching out for, again, are the threat for isolated tornadoes, strong winds, especially as this line makes its way through. There can be wind gusts between 30 to 40 miles per hour. In certain storms, 60 or above, and 60 is the mark you need for severe thunderstorms as well. But the good news is, with this line moving as fast as it is, flooding is not really going to be an issue, and with the more limited amount of energy, you might not get much hail, but it's still something to watch out for. And of course, we'll be watching it very closely. And Kinsley, like you said, now's the time for people to get those resources together before this morning.
Yes, definitely have a plan in place for you and your family. Make sure you have that first alert, also known as the forewarned weather app, because it sends a notification straight to your phone of watches and warnings. So with that app, you'll be good to go. Also, a weather radio is a good tool as well.
Exactly. You can never rely too much on those battery-powered devices, so any resource you can have will be great. And of course, we'll be watching out for that severe weather on Sunday, and we'll have more weather extra next week. But until then, have a great weekend. We'll see you next week.